Today, you might find yourself nodding along to someone's request, even if you wished you could say no. Your body might feel tired, but you often say, "It's okay," first. Inside, you might be feeling overwhelmed, but you still manage a smile on the outside. And perhaps others might not always realize how much effort you're putting in. At first, I simply wanted to be a good person. I believed that my help would be appreciated and my consideration would be met with respect. However, as time passed, I noticed appreciation fading, replaced by growing expectations. It started to feel as though my kindness had slowly become an unspoken obligation. It seems that people around you quickly notice when you don't decline requests. Requests might then start to come repeatedly, perhaps once, twice, or even 3 times. The initially cautious tone might gradually shift, feeling more like a directive. Eventually, you might feel as though your options have become limited. It seems that people can sometimes treat those who are kind a bit carelessly. When someone doesn't raise their voice, they might sometimes feel overlooked. If they don't express anger, others might feel comfortable pushing boundaries a little. It's as if those who are patient often end up carrying a heavier load. The reason for this often seems simple. It might simply be a feeling of safety. It seems that people often instinctively sense those who might be more understanding. They tend to look for individuals who don't typically resist or easily express discomfort. Sometimes you might find yourself in that very position. And when that happens, it's possible to feel like you're seen as the most approachable, perhaps even too easygoing. You might find yourself constantly weighing things. Perhaps you believe that if you help this time, things will somehow get better. You might hope for more respect in the future, or for their gratitude. However, it often turns out quite differently. Those hopes can lead to disappointment, and disappointment often leads to hurt. It can be quite the opposite. The more kindness you show, the higher expectations can become. What was a favor yesterday might feel like an obligation today. Soon, it could feel like your responsibility. In this way, your sacrifices may gradually grow. We often get used to convenience. Sometimes we might overlook initial gratitude. At first, we feel thankful, but it can gradually become a default. When something becomes a norm, we might stop appreciating its value. Instead, it can feel like just a tool. When you attempt to decline just once, the mood can shift. You might notice expressions tightening, and the tone might become colder. Comments like, "You were always so helpful, what's different now?" might emerge. In that moment, you might feel as though you've done something wrong. You might hear that you've changed, but perhaps what truly shifted isn't you. The world around you has simply transformed. The familiar convenience has disappeared, and that might feel a bit inconvenient. Many of us might find ourselves giving in again. Feeling a sense of regret, we may sacrifice our own needs. Out of fear of losing connections, we might give up on ourselves. And this unfortunate pattern may continue. People often treat others differently. They differentiate between those they respect and those they might want to utilize. When someone sets clear boundaries, others tend to be more mindful. However, if someone is always accommodating, people may feel comfortable asking for anything they desire. True respect, it seems, goes beyond simple kindness. Respect comes from a clear understanding of boundaries. It's not about expressing anger. It's about upholding your own personal standards. When those standards aren't in place, people might act without considering others. When you consistently accommodate others, it can feel as if your time and feelings are taken for granted. They might view them as readily available resources. As a result, they may not treat them with the care they deserve. This isn't about your character being weak. It's often how human psychology functions. Unbounded kindness can sometimes be consumed rather than respected. Even with good intentions, the outcome can be similar. When someone is always busy, their time often feels more precious. However, when someone is always available, their time might sometimes be taken for granted. It seems our feelings and how we value things can be quite similar. What comes easily can sometimes feel less truly valued. When someone consistently gives, their efforts might gradually become expected. As a result, your valuable contributions may not always be fully recognized. And when those efforts aren't seen, a sense of appreciation can begin to fade. The reason you were so kind was simply a desire to be loved. You feared being abandoned if you refused. Rather than becoming someone disliked, you chose to be taken advantage of. Unfortunately, that decision caused your current pain. But the truth might be a bit different. Setting boundaries doesn't always break connections. When you maintain your boundaries, if someone chooses to leave, it might simply mean they weren't truly respecting you from the start. Perhaps that connection wasn't serving you in the way it should. Someone who respects you won't leave even if you say no. They understand your limits. They don't make unreasonable demands. This often reflects a truly supportive connection. Let's consider an important question now. Think about the people who stay by your side. When you are struggling, do they offer you support, or do they tend to ask more from you? Your experience with this can reveal a lot. Being kind to others is truly wonderful. However, sometimes we might go too far, perhaps overlooking our own needs. It's good to remember that true kindness is different from self-sacrifice. Always putting ourselves last can, in time, lead to feelings of personal hurt. You might begin with gently declining small requests. There's no need to respond to every request right away. Even saying, "Let me think about it," can be a clear and healthy boundary. These small shifts can truly transform your relationships. There might be some who feel a bit uneasy. They might even perceive you as self-centered. However, their reaction can actually show something important. It could suggest that perhaps they weren't truly respecting you, but rather benefiting from your actions. Sometimes we need to tolerate discomfort. It's often after these experiences that a deeper respect can begin to form. If someone always seeks only comfort, they might find their generosity isn't always fully appreciated. Relationships often become healthier when we embrace some level of unease. Your worth isn't determined by how much you give. It's determined by how well you protect yourself. People often interact more carefully with those who maintain clear boundaries. That's often an observation we make. It's wonderful to be generous and kind, but remember to also cherish yourself. When you offer your support, it's helpful to ensure it doesn't become something others might take for granted. Sharing a smile is lovely, but it's important not to be overlooked. Finding that gentle balance is what truly protects you. Initially, you might find yourself feeling a little alone. You might notice fewer people around you. However, those who remain are truly authentic. They are the ones who genuinely respect you. Perhaps it's a moment to consider a choice, to keep putting others' needs first, or to have your own boundaries truly respected. Sometimes it feels challenging to embrace both at the same time. The way you navigate this can influence what lies ahead for you. You are not meant to be used by others. You are here to be loved and respected. Your kindness and generosity are truly precious. However, the first person you should extend that kindness to is yourself. You are also worthy of love.